If you've ever felt like you're stuck in ranked, putting in the hours but seeing no results, then this might be the most important video you watch all season. I've been SSL for 5 years, I peaked number 2 in the world, and I spent the last few years coaching hundreds of players trying to rank up, and through all of that, I've noticed a pattern. Every single person wants to know what they're missing, and most people waste their time grinding the wrong things or skipping the most important parts of the game entirely, and that's why I put together a completely evidence-based tier list of what actually matters when you're trying to rank up. And this isn't just going to be another generic list. I'm breaking down the exact things I've seen work for my coaching clients and even myself. 5 tiers, 5 levels, starting from the basics all the way to what separates the top 1% of players from everyone else. And if you go through this list and fix what's holding you back, I can guarantee you'll start ranking up faster than ever before. The fundamentals tier. This is the bedrock, so to speak. If you don't have things in this tier locked in, nothing else matters. I've seen high mechanical players stuck in low ranks simply because they ignore the basics. Let's start with positioning. You don't need perfect mechanics to be in the right spot. You just need awareness. Bad positioning forces bad touches. It creates awkward rotations and makes every single challenge way harder than it needs to be. Fixing this one thing will instantly clean up your gameplay. Then there's car control, and no, I'm not talking about flip resets. I mean, can you drive? Can you boost? Can you turn? Can you wave dash without wasting your movement? And when we coach players, the amount of boost they burn just moving around is insane. Clean car control makes you way faster and way more efficient. And the last thing in this tier is consistency. Most people lose not because they're worse, but simply because they make one random mistake that throws the whole game. Missed open nets, whiffed clears, bad back passes. If you can't play consistent Rocket League, just nothing else on this list matters. If you're under diamond and you're still struggling to rank up, this is the tier you need to live in until it's second nature. Positional awareness, clean car control, and consistency. Master these and you'll already be ahead of most players in your rank. The awareness tier. Once your basics are pretty strong, the next step is understanding what's happening around you. A lot of players have really good mechanics, but play blind. They don't look at where their teammates are. They don't track opponents, and they have no idea what's about to happen next. The first thing I teach here is rotational awareness. It's not just about going back post. It's about recognizing where you fit in the play. Are you first man? Are you last man? Most double commits come from players not realizing they aren't supposed to challenge. Next is opponent awareness. If you're not constantly tracking boost, car direction, and positioning, you're guessing, right? And guessing leads to bad decisions. High-level players are reading their opponents every single second. And finally, teammate awareness. This might sound really obvious, but if you ever cut off your teammate, overcommit when they're back, or steal their boost, you're not actually aware of your team. Good awareness means you can play off of others, not just chase your own plays. At champ and above, this is usually the tier holding people back. They have the mechanics, but not the awareness of the game state. Fix this and your decision making instantly gets cleaner. Next in the S tier is positioning, and I don't mean memorizing rotations. I mean actually understanding your spacing, your angles, and your role in the play. Are you first man? Are you last man? Are you creating pressure, or are you supporting? Most players don't know. And that's why they double commit. That's why they cut rotation, and that's why they throw away scoring chances. When we coach, one of the first things I fix is spacing. You'd be shocked how many players are just a few small adjustments away from ranking up purely because they're either too close to the play completely or out of it. Positioning isn't just about being in the right spot, it's about being there at the right time. Also in this tier, boost management. If you're constantly on 0, you're constantly on defense. Not because you're being pressured, but because you can't move freely. Small pad routes, efficient movement, not flipping unnecessarily. It's basic, but it changes everything. I've seen diamond players instantly play at a champ level just by fixing this one habit. And these 3 things, consistency, positioning, and boost management, form your foundation. I don't care if you're gold or grand champ. If you don't have these locked down, nothing else will stick. A tier, turning fundamentals into game-winning impact. Now that we've actually covered the absolute essentials, let's move into what I call the A tier, the skills that take you from solid to actually dangerous. And these aren't just about not messing up, they're about actively tilting the game in your favor. If the S tier gets you stable, the A tier gets you wins. And at the top of this tier is game sense. It's a broad term, sure. What I really mean here is the ability to read the play. It's knowing when to challenge, when to rotate out, when to fake pressure, and when to actually commit. A lot of players think game sense is something you magically develop after 2,000 hours, but we've coached players who hit SSL in less than a year because they focused on studying the game. They watched replays, they asked questions, they thought about the why behind every play. If you start asking why after every goal you concede, you'll develop game sense faster than any amount of ranked will. And don't just watch pro replays, watch your own, because that's where the real breakthroughs happen. Next is decision making under pressure. You can know the right move, but if you panic every time you're last back or whiff when someone's demo chasing you, none of that knowledge matters. You need to stay calm in the storm. This comes from 2 things. 1, experience, and 2, repetition. But more importantly, it comes from being aware of your habits. If you panic challenge every single time someone fakes a shot, start catching yourself. Practice shadow defense. Review clips when you got baited. Get comfortable waiting. It's not flashy, but it wins games. Then we can have communication and awareness. Especially in 2s and 3s, being a good teammate will rank you up faster than any other solo play ever could. I've seen players jump multiple ranks just by learning when to shut up and when to make a call, even without voice, quick chats, predictable positioning, and not stealing boost from your teammate's path. These all make a difference. Lastly, recovery mechanics. This one sits right on the edge of S and A tier. Why? Because how you recover decides how often you're involved in the play. Bad recoveries mean you're stuck in your half, useless. Good recoveries mean you're always in position, always relevant. If you're in diamond or champ and not wave dashing, not landing cleanly, and not rotating with momentum, you are leaving free value on the table. One of the biggest things I work on with coaching clients is not how fast they move, but how fast they get back into the play. That alone can make you feel way faster and way more effective. And these A tier habits turn your solid gameplay into winning gameplay. And that's what separates average and great players. If you're stuck at a plateau, there's a good chance the problem lives right here. B tier, situational skills that give you the edge. If the S tier is about not losing and the A tier is about winning consistently, then the B tier is all about gaining edges. These habits aren't essential from the beginning, but once your fundamentals are locked in, they become difference makers. They're the tools you use to elevate yourself above the rest of your rank and to stand out in clutch moments. Let's start with shot placement and intentional offense. Most players shoot the ball without a plan. They see the net, they fire, but that's not how high-level players actually score. At the top ranks, everyone can save a fast shot. What they can't always save is a well-placed one, a low 50, a delayed shot, a shot that forces a bad clear. I always tell the players we coach, don't just shoot, aim for something. Shoot for rebounds, shoot for demos, shoot to create pressure, not just to put the ball on net. It doesn't have to go in, it just has to make the opponent really uncomfortable. And that's what opens up goals. Then there's adaptability. This is massively underrated. The way you play in one match shouldn't always be the same in the next. If you're against a super passive team, you need to press harder. If you're facing an aggressive team, you need to slow it down and force them to make mistakes. Most players have one pace, one style, and that's what holds them back. If you've ever had a game where nothing worked and you kept trying the same things over and over, this is probably your weak point. The ability to adapt mid-game is something I push really hard with coaching clients, especially once they hit champ or above, because the higher you go, the more often you need to change your approach, especially during the game. Next up is demo awareness, and I don't mean playing like a demo bot or comm chasing every car. I understand when demos actually provide value. Are you clearing a defender to open up a shot? Are you removing the third man in rotation? Are you demoing to relieve pressure? Great demos create opportunities. Bad ones take you out of the play for no reason. At lower ranks, demos can feel really cheap, but at high ranks, they're always strategic. And if you're not using them, or if you're not aware of them, you're literally leaving value on the field. Learn to read who's demoing, when to dodge, and when to strike. And it's not a main game plan, obviously, but it's a powerful side tool. Another B tier skill is kickoff optimization. Everyone underestimates kickoffs, but they can decide games. Especially in 1s and 2s, a bad kickoff can lead to an instant goal. A good one gives you early momentum, but beyond that, what matters is what you do after the kickoff. You know, are you rotating smart? Are you stealing boost? Are you pressuring or holding back? I've helped players rank up purely by fixing their kickoff approach and the first 5 seconds of each game. And that's how big of a difference it can make. It's not hard to learn, you just need to be intentional. Finally, let's talk about mental reset and focus. This sits in B tier, not because it's unimportant. In fact, at the top, it's actually one of the most important things. But because until you fix your fundamentals, mindset alone can't save you. That said, once you hit mid-champ and beyond, your ability to reset after a mistake, stay locked in during OT, and avoid tilt becomes your edge. I've seen players spiral after one bad touch. I've been that player, but I've also seen people learn to pause, breathe, and come back stronger mid-game. And that's a real skill. It doesn't just make you a better player, it makes you a better teammate. And better teammates win more games. So that's the B tier. Situational, supportive skills that amplify your core. Alone, they won't carry you, but layered on top of solid fundamentals, they'll make you unpredictable, versatile, and dangerous. The B tier is when things start to get more situational. These aren't must-have skills like positioning or consistency. They're not even habits that will immediately rank you up, but once your S tier and A tier habits are dialed in, these can give you that extra edge, especially in higher ranks, where margins are thin and players are really smart. Let's start with kickoff strategy. It's one of the most overlooked areas in ranked play. People think kickoffs are just press, boost, and flip, but high-level players know how much a single kickoff loss can swing momentum, whether it's cheating properly, delaying your kickoff to counter a speed flip, or recognizing when to call a fake. Mastering kickoff scenarios makes you unpredictable and gives your team more possessions. I've coached players who climbed multiple ranks just from making their kickoff game consistent. It doesn't matter how cracked your mechanics are if you're starting every play on defense, because you lose kickoff every time. Next in B tier is adaptability to teammates. This one's massive and ranked, and you're not always going to get teammates who rotate like pros. In fact, most of the time they won't. So instead of tilting or, trying to force your playstyle, high-level players adjust in real time. If your second man is overly aggressive, maybe you play more cautiously. If you notice your teammate always whiffs, maybe you prioritize grounded follow-ups. And this doesn't mean you're carrying, it just means you're increasing the odds your team works as a unit. That's what gets wins in solo queue. Another key in B tier is match flow awareness. This means having a feel for how a game is playing out. Are you up 3-0 and getting greedy? Are you down by 1 and need to switch up your tempo? Too many players just play the same way every single match. No matter what's happening, the best players adjust based on score, momentum, time remaining, and even opponent behavior. And look, this is something I constantly emphasize when coaching. Most players hit a wall not because they don't have the skill, but because they don't know when to shift gears. They can't slow it down when the game calls for it. They can't go aggressive when the time is right. They just default to one style and hope it works. Next, we have demo awareness. Now this one's actually pretty controversial. Some people hate demos, some live for them, but here's the truth. Demos are part of the meta. That's just how it is, and the players who understand when to use them strategically are just more dangerous than players who just hunt for clips. A good demo clears space, it turns a 2v2 into a 2v1, it forces awkward saves, it baits out panic touches. The key here is not just going for demos, it's understanding when they'll break the play open, when you can remove a third man and create a guaranteed scoring chance. That's S tier value from a B tier skill, but it only works if your timing and positioning are smart. Lastly, in B tier is custom training routines. Now, this isn't about grinding aimlessly. In free play, you're doing rings for hours. This is about identifying what you personally need and designing a quick, focused warm-up around that. 10 to 15 minutes a day max. One of the biggest advantages of coaching is that we help players build routines that actually address their weak points, not just random packs, but ones based on replays and patterns we see in their games. That's how you improve fast, not by copying your favorite pro's warm-up, but by training with purpose. If you are whiffing fastballs off the backboard, train those exact shots. If your flicks are weak, create a pack that forces better car ball positioning. This level of specificity is what turns a generic grind into actual progression. So while B tier habits won't carry you alone, they're what give you versatility. They give you the ability to outsmart opponents, adapt to your team, and find new ways to win that aren't just mechanical skill. C tier habits, the traps that keep players stuck because they're pouring hours into things that don't give returns. If you've been grinding and not ranking up, there's a good chance you're stuck here. First up, grinding mechanics in isolation. I'm talking about spending hours in free play trying to hit flip resets, ceiling shots, double taps, all that flashy stuff that looks good in montages but doesn't show up once the game gets messy. It's not that mechanics aren't important, it's more so that they're useless if you can't apply them in game. When we coach, we always ask the question, how often are you actually using this mechanic in ranked matches? If the answer is rarely, then why are you dedicating 70% of your training time to it? SSL players don't hit flashy clips every match, they just do the fundamentals better than everyone else. They stay in position, they make fast decisions, and they hit clean touches. If you're in gold through Grand Champ, that is what will carry you, not flip resets. Next thing here is settings. Players think that if they use the same camera settings like Justin or the same controls as Squishy, they'll magically play like them. But here's the truth. Pro settings are just personal. They're tailored to how that player plays, moves, reacts, and even prefers. And most of them have thousands of hours adapting to those exact sensitivities. What works for them probably won't work for you. So instead of copying, experiment, find a setup that gives you good field vision, quick control, and comfort. That's it. Changing your settings every week just keeps you inconsistent and stops you from building muscle memory. Next C tier habit, watching pros without intention. Look, watching Pro Rocket League can be great if you're analyzing it, but what most players do is throw on an RLCS stream, sit back and absorb nothing. You're not learning, you're just watching. If you want to actually get better from watching pros, do this. Pick one player, watch from their POV only, and pause the replay every 10 seconds to ask yourself why they did what they did. Why didn't they jump for that ball? Why did they rotate near post instead of back post? Why are they slowing down here instead of cutting rotation? That's how you turn spectating into study. Anything else is just entertainment, and that's fine, but don't lie to yourself and call it training. Fourth C tier trap, only playing ranked. This one's going to hit hard for a lot of people, but ranked is not the best way to improve. It's the best way to test your improvement if all you do is queue ranked without review, but without targeted training, without fixing mistakes, you are literally just reinforcing bad habits. I've worked with hundreds of players who hit plateaus because they treat ranked like a treadmill. You keep running, but you're not going anywhere. You're not identifying what's holding you back. You're not correcting it. You're just hoping it fixes itself after the next match. That's not how it works. Instead, split your time. Half ranked, half intentional work. Replay reviews, targeted drills, even mental resets, that's what gets results. And finally, probably the most common waste of time, blaming teammates. This one doesn't even need a long explanation. If your go-to reaction after every loss is, "My teammate sucks," then you're done improving. That mindset guarantees that you never take ownership, and if you never own your mistakes, you never fix them. Yes, bad teammates exist. Yes, sometimes it really is their fault, but that's not helpful. What is helpful is asking, what could I have done better, even if it wasn't my fault? That's how SSLs think. That's how pros think. And if you want to get there, you need to adopt that mentality. Let me say this again. Time is your most valuable resource in Rocket League, or really in anything. Don't waste it on things that make you feel like you're improving but give you no results. C-tier habits look like progress, they feel comfortable, but they're what keep players stuck for years. So now you've seen the full tier list, you know what to double down on or what to clean up and what to ignore completely. If you build your improvement strategy around this, you'll not only rank up faster, but you'll also avoid the wasted hours that derail most players. And if you're serious about ranking up and making this shift, I run a private coaching program where I work one-on-one with players just like you. We build customized improvement plans, break down your gameplay, and give you the exact next steps to hit the rank you've been chasing. One of our top coaches right now is Gyro, the pro, and together we've helped players go from low champ to SSL faster than they thought possible. If you want to get coached by us, check that link in the description and apply. We only take players who are committed, so spots are limited, and even if they weren't limited, it'd be hard to get in anyways. But aside from that, start applying what we told you in this video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.